All right, Coach Summer, share some thoughts on how you feel your team looks here early on in practice.
We're getting our pace of play up and how fast we want to go. I think that's one of our main things in practice we try to do. We try to play faster in practice than what we're going to see in a game and get our tempo up. And that's something that I think this year, playing our system for a second year now, these kids kind of understand how fast they got to play and how hard they got to play in order to play our havoc style. And it started from day one this year where we were kind of a little slower out of the gate last year doing it. So I think that's kind of the biggest thing that we've done that's been a plus. On the flip side too is after our five seniors, it's kind of a thing of new kids coming up that haven't played a lot of varsity basketball and trying to get them in the swing of things and get them ready to play varsity ball has kind of been our biggest challenge, I would say. So the intensity and the pace is up, and now our next thing is getting those younger kids up to speed.
So football shape and other sports shape is different than basketball shape, especially than when you guys put in your system. Talk about some of the difficulties it is trying to get kids into that kind of shape.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You come in from football and you think you're in pretty good shape, and you get on the basketball court and it's completely different. So you're starting over from scratch basically. And our biggest thing is how fast we practice and the intensity in practice. We don't do a whole lot of let's stop and get on the baseline and run sprints. If we're running sprints, it's usually because they haven't met goals of maybe they missed some layups or they didn't make a goal on a drill and then they would run from there. But most of our conditioning is in our drills and getting up and down, and a lot of what we do during the whole entire practice is full court stuff. So we get up and down the court as much as possible, and I think that's the biggest way to get into shape is simulating game stuff, and that's what we try to do.
Now you guys are replacing a lot of talent from last year, Royce, Donovan, Brady. Talk about how that process is going.
Yeah, I think I've talked to a few people before too. Is last year's team, there's a lot of success, but when you return 5 of those 8 kids, but you lose 3 very special basketball players from that team. And our biggest thing now is these kids were role players, and now how are they going to step up and be the main players this year? I think that's our biggest question coming in. They were very good at their job last year and did the little things right that they needed to help us win, but now they're going to be asked to carry a much bigger load, and it's going to be a wait-and-see thing when they get out in some games and see how they handle that, and if they're up to the task. If they are, I think we can have a very good season this year, but it's something that's a question mark right now, and it's up to them to prove it.
And who are some of those younger players you're looking to step up for you?
Well, right now, to replace a lot of our scoring, we're going to look at Ryan Strange to be our man. I think he's got a lot of talent to do that. And in all honesty, even last year and probably a sophomore year, he had the ability to be a leading scorer. But when you have Royce, Donovan, and Brady out on the floor, he didn't have to. He was our point guard and he was our facilitator and got our offense going. And this year he's going to be asked to play a much bigger role. And he's a kid that can do it. And he's very talented and he's a great basketball player. So he's going to be our main guy. But then it's after him where we have a lot of balance. We have a lot of guys like Cedric Boone and Noah Williams that can get to the rim at any time, and they can slash and do some different things athletically. And then Joey Mcauley is a great three-point shooter, and he can spread the floor for us so we can get some driving lanes. And so I think he's going to be our scorer out there. And then Joe Engelbrecht can go inside out. He's a very good shooter too, and can do some things inside. So I think when you balance up those 4 and then you put Ryan in there, if we can get those guys to do their jobs and do what they're good at, then we can hopefully replace that scoring that we lost last year.
And then Cedric Boone is a kid that's always caught my eye since I've been here. But like you said, you guys had Royce and Donovan and all these other guys. Talk a little bit about how he's maybe stepping into a new role and he might be freer in your guys' system to kind of do his thing now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He's going to have the opportunities to do stuff this year, whereas last year I don't know if he really had those opportunities or if he was even in positions to do some of the things he can do. But he's such an athletic kid, and he has no problem getting to the rim. And his biggest thing now is finishing when he gets to the rim. But he is so athletic and slashes so well. I think he'll be all right there. And the biggest thing I've seen with him so far this year is the way he's playing defense. And with us pressing and stuff, it seems like he's all over the court and making play here, making a play there. And quite frankly, we need that, because when you lose Donovan Edwards, who was our 3-time team defensive MVP, somebody's got to step up. And he's kind of the kid that's done that so far. But with that said, it's been in practice. So we got to go out in games, and he's got to show it in games that he can do it. But if he continues to improve and show what he has in practice, then I think he's going to be able to step in real nicely in that defensive spot.
And then right now, heading into the season, what do you consider to be your team's biggest strength?
I would say our strength is just our overall athleticism. We're not going to be very big, and so I think playing our system that we do, we're going to have to force a lot of turnovers. And with us being a second year in our pressing system and our up and down play, these kids are a lot more comfortable this year off the bat than we were last year. Last year, they're kind of learning how to run our style and where to go on the press, where to fit, where to jump, where not to jump. Where to go get steals, where not to. This year they're fine-tuning that opposed to learning it. So I think that is by far our biggest strength is we're stepping in at such a higher level now, just being more comfortable with where we're at. So I think we're going to be able to do a little more on defense and be a little more flexible with what we do because they've already learned everything.
And then from the outside, it looks like you guys' conference and district even is kind of wide open this year. Talk about where that places some of your guys' goals and expectations.
Yeah, I think our program where we're at right now, every year we look at the conference and the district as things that we want to win, and it's something that we feel we're good enough to do. But with that being said, this year I'm not sure any of the 6 coaches in our conference would say anything different. I think you look at the top 4 teams in the conference last year all lost a lot of key pieces to their teams, and then with Milan and Schuyler, they didn't lose hardly anything. So when you take that into consideration, I think it's going to be a very balanced conference, and you're going to have to make sure you take care of business at home every single night and hopefully steal a few road games to win that conference. But I feel we should be right there, and if we play well and then some of those freshmen and sophomores can step up and give me a little bit of depth, then it should be something that we could have a very special season in the conference. And the district is pretty much the same thing as the conference scene. It's about the same teams, and you add Princeton and Marceline in there. I don't know a lot about Princeton yet, but Marceline's going to be a team that they return all their key pieces. So it's going to be another thing where you're going to have to play 3 really good games in a district if you want to win a district championship.
All right, Coach, early on in practice, share some thoughts on how you feel your girls look so far.
Well, I think we're picking up in a good spot. I think we're a little ahead of where we were last year as far as some of the skills that we have. So it's a matter right now of how we come together as a team and how we gel, and there's still a lot to be determined in that regard.
And then talk about how your team has kind of used the motivation from last year of just missing out on the state Final Four, of trying to come back with maybe like an unfinished type mindset.
Yeah, I really try not to focus on that too much. We did talk about it the first day. I mean, we kind of use it as a motivational tool when we talk about effort and how hard we're working. Just asking ourselves, are we doing everything that we could in practice? Are we running as hard as we could? Are we working his shots as much as we should? And I asked him to think back to that time and that game, and are we doing the things that could have made a difference in a situation like that? But always looking forward to this year. I said I didn't question one thing about effort last year, how much we left on the court, but this year is a new year, and we have to start all over again.
And does having such a competitive conference, I mean, Scotland County is loaded with young talent,
yeah.
Schuyler County the same way, does that help you guys focusing on this year and not dwelling on the past?
Yeah, I think it's there's no question at all our conference is going to be, it was good last year, and it's going to be much improved this year. A lot of the best players that are coming back they were freshmen and sophomores last year. It's going to be a really, really tough conference schedule, and I think that helps us focus in, and it helps us understand that getting to the same record that we had last year is going to be really hard to do. I mentioned earlier I wouldn't be surprised at all a conference champion this year, whoever that is they could very well end up with 2 or 3 losses and still come out as a conference champion, because I think it's that equal across the board.
And then you guys do have a good group of veteran talent back. The girls have played a lot of varsity experience. Talk about how that is helping your team and might give you guys a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah, I think we're returning 7 lettermen. 4 of those are seniors. I think there's no doubt that those girls, those 4 seniors, they've played basketball together for a while now. We've got some softball experience, so they play together a lot out there. I think it is an advantage to have experience versus talent when the talent is really young. But it's one of those things that that when you get to the end of the day, we got to replace 3 seniors who provided about 20 points a game for us last year, provided really good defense. So these seniors know that I'm looking for a lot out of them, and we've got a lot of holes to fill from last year.
And who are some girls you're looking to fill some of those holes for you?
Well, I think obviously we've got Lauren Dale coming back, starting for us. But the ones, we've got Carissa Hamlin and Madison McCabe have to step up. They were freshmen last year. They're going to see a lot more playing time this year. Amy Goodhouse and Megan Poston at the post positions are going to see a lot more playing time because we lost Sarah Dooley there, of course. Shanna Elder is coming back, and Alex Hamlin's coming back. Got a couple of new faces that transferred in. Marissa York, tall and long, athletic. We're looking for some good things out of her. And then Angel Harrison came in, and a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism. So we've got a couple of new faces. We've got to get the ones that came back. We've got to get them to step up and do a little more than they had to do last year, and I think we'll be okay.
And then heading into the season, what can you put your foot down and say this is going to be our biggest strength?
I think our biggest strength is just going to be probably once again our speed. Like I said, a couple of the new faces that we have in, and then we have Jessie Anderson comes in as a freshman. She's going to dress for us as well. All run the court really well. So I think our speed, we're not as long, not quite as big as we were last year. So I can't really say that's definitely a strength for us, and especially when you compare us with some of the other teams in our conference that are just as long as we are. Again, I think speed primarily is going to be our biggest strength.
And then having a group that's accomplished so much, where do you guys kind of set goals and expectations for this year?
Well, I think the main thing for us right now is definitely, not to get ahead of ourselves, not to think too far down the road. I think we all want to, having been there last year, I think the first thing that comes to my mind as a coach and what I talk to them about is getting back to a district championship game. We understand conference is going to be really hard, and there's a very good chance we may not come out of here with a conference championship, but at the end of the day, it gets into the playoffs, and it's how far you advance there. So we're really kind of focusing on getting back to that district championship and hopefully having a chance to advance beyond that.